Professor Swaran Singh, if I could bring you in on India and how it's going to be impacted with the new tariffs that Trump has imposed on Iranian trading partners. We already have a 50% tariff, 25% reciprocatory tariff, 25% because we buy oil from Russia, another nation that's currently in war with Ukraine, and now we are burning our hands for trading with Iran as well. Can we really say India is unaffected?
India definitely is going to be impacted. But remember, earlier as well, there have been several occasions when India has chosen to stop doing business with Tehran.
Yeah.
So if India goes back to zero, this is not going to be the first time. But let's also remember the largest trading partner with about $22 billion is China. Others are smaller relatively, then of course Turkey, Germany, South Korea, Japan, and then India. In that sense, yes, India is not the largest trading partner of Iran, but if you look at the kind of methodology that President Trump applies, he did not follow that sequence of who's the largest trading partner and who's not. So he could be picking and choosing countries in case he wants to put that additional penalty tariff of 25%, and he could choose India in that sense. So India could be impacted, is what I'm underlining. Second, I think the disruption of protests in Iran is unprecedented in several ways. First of all, as a very reliable, respected news agency from Western countries has already said, more than 110 cities and towns are having protests in all 31 provinces of Iran. It has never been as nationwide before. Even in earlier the protests of Mahsa Amini's killing. Second, it is not specifically led by one segment. For example, last protests were largely led by women. At least in media, they were mostly visible. Now you have almost everyone in the protests: students, workers, even business people, civil society. So all strata and all segments of society are kind of involved. And third, for the first time, there's an additional element of direct intervention of Prince Reza Pahlavi, who's kind of tweeting at least, saying, I am with you. And on the ground as well, there are now slogans about, bringing back the same Emperor Shah's regime. Of course, that's not the only voice. There are also strong voices for democracy.
Pahlavi,
but point is that for the first time,
Professor, when you spoke of Pahlavi, from whatever
population is youth, which is born after 1979.
From what I hear, okay, Professor Swaran Singh and then Ambassador, as I'm also short on time. Professor, you wanted to come in on that. Dr. Zakir's clear point is that Iran has been pushed to this stage today because US has heavily imposed sanctions for a long time on Iran, and that's kind of pushed them into an economic crisis. And now the same US is trying to instigate internal unrest. So this is not a 1-2 day uprising. It's been the engineering has been happening for quite a while by the US. Do you believe so?
The United States has been slapping sanctions on several countries. The easiest example one can look at is Myanmar, North Korea. I'm not endorsed regimes, but they have managed their internal domestic politics. Fundamentally, what is different today is inflation has crossed 50%. Riyal is now 1.45 million to a dollar. Jobs are not there, and life is really expensive. And that is why I was saying 65% of population born after 2000, they are fundamentally not happy with the Shia theory of a religious cleric being the supreme leader, and they are looking for a change. Now, whether that change comes with the return or support of Pahlavi Reza or comes into democracy, because there's no clear leadership to tell us what they want. So there are all kinds of slogans which are becoming popular, and very quickly I would not be able to agree with my very respected colleague Bora Saab. I don't think 48 hours regime change is happening. United States will not do Venezuela in Iran because of 150,000 strong IRGC guards, plus a very powerful voluntary force Wasij, What they will do and what they have always done, maybe possibly surgical strikes, and whether that leads to like killing of Qasim Soleiman or killing of President Raisi, that kind of thing US has been able to do in Iran, and whether they will do it, whether that will solve the problem, we don't know. As far as India is concerned, I agree, Navila, with you. India is already on course correction, very conscious of what United States looks at India and how India must deal with United States and not become kind of a victim of President Trump's anger. So course correction of the foreign minister of Iran, who was supposed to be here this week, is not coming. Not clear whether they thought it is not good to do the visit at this stage or what happened, but that visit is not happening.
Yeah.
BRICS are doing their naval exercises. India as a chair is not joining. So India is doing course correction, and India is trying to make sure that we don't confront
Sir,
President Trump.
a quick word from you on the sectors India deals with: pharmaceuticals and basmati rice. That's mostly the two primary sectors. What about oil?
I think that is where Iran is dependent on India. About $700 million of exports of India are only cereals. And if that kind of support stops from Indian side, that would add to the protests and anger inside Iran, because food prices will go up. Food prices have already gone up 72% or so. And if they become even more expensive, the protests are almost looking unstoppable at this stage.
Yeah.
I have no idea how these protests will come to an end now, and whether there is going to be
How
is that going to
how
happen?
Ambassador Vora gave